They say that talking to yourself is a sign of insanity. But I think that's only if you answer back, right? Right. This is Talking to Myself, the Art Advice podcast where I use anecdotes from my real life, try to make myself a better artist, and possibly a better person. Other people might find this useful also, but mostly I'm just trying to avoid paying for therapy. On today's podcast, I thought I would talk about failing, which I'm extremely good at, and what I'm trying to do as a strategy to recover from that, and the importance of trying, which is something that I've taken an awfully long time to come around to. Now, I've mentioned before here, and not to brag, but my academic career was pretty breezy, pretty easy for me in school. I had a good time of it, mostly because quite frankly, I was in a bad school district with a put-upon school system that had no money. There were some very good, very dedicated teachers. I don't want to disparage any of the teachers, but looking back at my academic experience, part of the reason I was so successful and it was so easy for me was because some of it was, let's say, less stringent than hopefully it could have been. Now, that's not always the case. I was in advanced placement classes since I was 12, 11, maybe younger, and I was getting some advanced training. I was getting advanced mathematics training, English, science, that kind of thing. So I was, my performance wasn't entirely based on how bad the school system was, but it helped. Beside the point, though, it doesn't matter why. The point I'm trying to make here that I've said before is that school was pretty easy for me. I didn't have to try to get decent grades, to get good grades even, and to achieve awards or whatever it took. Small pond, medium-sized fish, Then you get to college. I've mentioned this before too, and that kind of thing stopped because it's a much larger pool. And in college, they have a certain level of stringent academia requirement, and it was fairly easy to begin with, but it got harder as my laziness became an impediment to achieving anything. It was also difficult because I had to work a full-time job the entire time I was in college at the same time, sometimes two, depending on what time of year it was. I'm not whining about it. I got through college. I got a degree, so I'm fine with that. But had I had the work ethic, had I understood that trying was important, maybe been shown that trying was important by having something difficult to achieve earlier, that would have helped me. As an artist, I do a lot of art challenges occasionally when they come up. Inktober is a huge one. I didn't actually do Inktober this year. Last year I did Inktober and 31 Days of Halloween, which is just a Halloween drawing every day, fairly simple, because I thought, I draw spooky stuff anyway. What's the big deal? So this year, for various reasons, I just did 31 Days of Halloween for October. Despite the fact that it's in my wheelhouse and it's sort of the kind of stuff I do anyway, I was still unable to meet the challenge, quite frankly. There were several days I did not post a 31 Days of Halloween post. There were days I couldn't find enough time to actually make something. And there were some days where I just ended up drawing everything except what seemed like it would fit into a 31 Days of Halloween post. Knowing that I had the challenge to do. I didn't feel like I had to. I didn't see the benefit in trying, I think, which is dumb because it's pretty much a self-imposed thing, this challenge. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. All you're trying to do is either stretch yourself creatively, produce more work, or get some more exposure through linking with a shared experience of an art challenge. And I achieved none of those things. I didn't produce very much work. I didn't stretch myself at all creatively or technically or anything, because I was basically just drawing exactly the same stuff I drew. I get to draw jack-o'-lanterns and stuff like that, but that's fun. I love Halloween, so it was hardly a burden to draw things I love that are just slightly left of what I usually draw. But a skull is a skull, right? I draw skulls all the time. Nor did I get much exposure because I wasn't posting every day. It's a smaller art challenge also. And I did a YouTube video to hype up the beginning of it, trying to get myself excited, and I didn't even accomplish the challenge. And that was a baseline easy challenge. There's not much to it, especially for someone like me who draws that kind of stuff all the time. So, technically speaking, I failed. And it's not the first time I failed, quite frankly, in life or in art. And it won't be the last either. But to fail at something that should be so easy for me, kind of sticking in my craw. It's a little difficult to deal with right now. So what did I decide to do instead? How am I going to recover from this? Am I going to redouble my efforts next year? Am I going to make sure that I stick to my next project until it's completed? Sort of, kinda, not really. What I've done instead is jumped like 3 steps ahead of that and made my own art challenge for November. I'm calling it Nightvember. It's fairly loose, except that it has to be dark imagery or horror art, which is sort of something I flirt with occasionally, but don't often commit to. So it will be a little bit of a stretch. I wrote up some prompts that I felt they're pretty simple and they relate directly to the challenge mostly, but I'm going to try and interpret them in the broadest, most artistic way I can. Most importantly, because it's my challenge, there is no compromise on whether or not I can post this or not. I don't really have much choice. If I have to sit down for 30 minutes and just do a quick sketch of something and that's my post for the day, that's what I'll do, because I have to do this. Now, having said that, this is the 1st of November. I'm recording this. Surprise, surprise, the night before. Imagine that. I've done one of the challenges so far, and the drawing took like 3 hours to do. 2.5, 3 hours. Now, I'm not going to be able to commit that kind of time all the time, obviously. I am happy with the drawing. I didn't expect it to take so long. I'd like to keep this quality, and if I have to take that long to keep this quality, I just need to make sure that I have the will to commit to that. How do I go about doing that? Well, I don't know. Maybe when I find myself slipping into a pattern of doing something that I know is going to waste a lot of time, like after dinner but before I start watching YouTube videos, I'd sit down and I draw. You can draw during watching YouTube videos. You don't have to make videos of these or anything. I just need the images. So I'm going to incorporate that into my lifestyle. I'm going to sit down with a pad in my hand or the iPad in my hand every day, and I'm going to make something for this challenge. And through that, hopefully, success, I can overcome what the failure of the other art challenge has done to me. Which is, it's not bad. It just feels bad to not succeed at something. So I'm going to try to do what I can to succeed at something. And hopefully this taste of success will teach me that trying is important. I'm also doing some other things that I have been loath to do before, like I've tried some marketing for a sale at the website, which by the time you hear this is probably over, but may or may not be. Things that I've considered that should be important steps in your trying to build an art career, but I haven't done them for whatever reason. I'm putting aside my concerns. I'm actually taking some steps towards these things. There's a virtual convention coming up in the middle of November. I'm going to try to get a seat on a table in that. And I don't usually do well at conventions. I don't expect to make any money at this, but I told myself if an opportunity comes up that might help progress my career, I need to take it, if I can. Now, I'm not going to be able to dish out $300 for a table at every virtual convention that pops up, and this one's not that expensive, but if there is an opportunity I can take that might help me, it's time to stop making up excuses not to do it. So trying is my new motto. I gotta try. Sorry, Yoda. There is try, and it's very important. As always, thanks you guys for listening. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Hopefully there's some project you've got going that you just need a little more push to try. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon. You guys get to see these a week earlier than everyone else in the entire world, and you are the shiniest people I know. Thank you for being there. Everybody take care of each other, be good to yourself, and have fun making something.